Hi guys, Max here from Arthur Online, here to take you through another video, and today we're going to go through how to add in an action that notifies your management team that rent is now overdue. So we're on our dashboard currently. What we're going to do is we're going to go into settings. Once we're in settings, we're then going to scroll down account settings to automated events, and we're going to click in there. Now here's where it gets complicated, because what we're going to do is we're going to select a specific action, and that action is within financials. So if you click on the financials tab, it will take you into the financials tab. We will then go down to the bottom here where it says add manual event, and you will then click on that. Now we'll then name the event. So we will say rent overdue by 7 days. We're then going to change the method to a timed event. Now, the reason why we change it to a timed event is because we want to get notified 7 days after the rent has become overdue. So we'll click timed event. And then we've got to select all of our conditions, which there are 3 of. The first one we're going to select is we're going to select the transaction type. And the transaction type is either going to be, depending on if you're a managing agent who collects the rent, deducts their management fee and remits to the landlord, that would be a case of rent charge. So you'd go ahead and find rent charge. Or in the case of when you are a landlord who is using the system and owns your own properties and all the rent is coming to yourself, it will be direct rent, okay? Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in how many days the rent is overdue by. So we're again going to click down on this box. We're going to go and we're going to find due date, because that's the action that's going to give us the 7 days late. So if you click on due date, you will then change this. It says is, and if we look on our example values, it says +5 is in 5 days and -2 days is 2 days ago. So we're going to type in -7 days because we want to notify our staff that the rent is 7 days late. Then what we can do is if you click on a final tab, you will go to paid. And paid is always going to be overdue because the rent that's late is always going to come up as overdue. So we've got transaction type is either direct rent or rent charge, depending on your business. Due date is -7 days for this rent overdue by 7 days. And paid is overdue because the rent is now overdue. So all we'll do is we'll click submit, and that will create the event in the financials. Now, what we want to do is that once we've created the action, which you see here, rent overdue by 7 days, we then want to add an action to that event. So if you click add action, that will then take you into the event. And again, we can create the action name and call it overdue rent 7 days. And what we can do is we can tick both of these boxes, which means that it will just automatically run in the background. We then get asked with how would you like this action to work? Now, the most common process for people is to click apply a process. And apply a process means that you can either send a message/email to your property managers, you can send an SMS, you can send a notification, or you can even send a webhook. The most common one is normally an email. So we'll leave it on send message. We've then got our recipients. So if I click on this, it will give us all property managers. So we can click on all property managers and it will then send the 7-day late rent message to all of them. Or we can go ahead and select a specific one. So for example, myself, I'm a property manager. So if I only want this action to go to myself, I will send it to me. Then we have our subject. So in the subject, what we can write is rent for, and when you want to do a variable, so for the system to pick up on a variable, you will right click and you will type in, let's say, tenancy, and we'll go ahead and we'll find the reference. And that will say rent for TE1001 is now overdue by 7 days. What you will then do is you'll go ahead and you'll write the email. So you'll go, hi, and then again, you can right click and click to first name. So it will say, hi, Max. Just to let you know, the rent for, and here we can put as many variables you want. So you can put the property, you can put the unit address, and you can also put the tenancy. Tenancy reference is now overdue by 7 days. And then what you can do is the total now outstanding in your account or in the tenant's account is right click and type in outstanding, and it will give you the amount that is outstanding for that tenancy in their rental statement. And then you can put, please can you follow up with the tenant if it's for your staff, or if you're sending this to the tenant, you can personalize it to send it to the tenant rather than the property managers. Okay, and then once that's done, you'll simply save the action, and it will then pick up on all rent that's 7 days late, and it will then send them an action with this email in. I hope this has been informative, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks so much.